We took a bike ride to see Fields Landing, where we would park for our trip to Stehekin.
To get here is an 8-mile bike ride up and down quite a few hills. We haven't ridden in hilly country in quite a while, so 8 miles on hills, well, it'll be 16 by the time we get back. It's a workout. But we need it.
Indeed we do. We paid for our parking in Fields Landing rather than driving back to Chelan, and made the boat ride 40 minutes shorter going each way, and a much shorter drive from the state park. Lake Chelan State Park is where we are. We drove up to Fields Point Landing, and then there's another state park, 25 Mile Creek. We'll take the boat clear up here, and it passes by. Cloudy Pass is down here, and this is the Pacific Crest Trail. That's a tough one, and this is a hard section. You go across Bridge Creek, and there's High Bridge and Bridge Creek for camping. Here comes our ride, the Lady of the Lake. The geese are kind of rowdy today. You had to be ready to get on the boat as soon as it got there because it wasn't waiting very long. Once it loaded up its supplies for Stehekin, they asked that we hoist ourselves up there rather than them having to put up the ramp, and we made it up okay. As you can see, this is no luxury liner. We pulled out our folding chairs on the Lady of the Lake. It was a little bit of a chilly morning, even though the sun was shining as we sat on the back of the boat, but we just sat up towards the front so the wind didn't hit us. The lower deck was enclosed and had much more comfortable seats, but the views weren't nearly as good.
The shoreline drops off of this part of the lake. So once again, over there on the right, that was Safety Harbor. It's about the halfway spot in our trip today.
Lake Chelan is 50 miles long and was carved by glaciers. One of our stops along the way to Stehekin was Donkey Falls. In 1862, the Homestead Act was enacted by President Lincoln. A person could have 160 acres, but they had to have a continuous residence for 5 years. Yeah, that's a cool place for a cabin. The homesteaders were able to make a living by cutting down trees and selling it to the steamships going by to Stehekin, carrying tourists.
So this stop is Prince Creek. So if you're leaving us here, now's a good time for you to head downstairs and grab your backpacks. Word of caution, it's a bit of a drop to get down off the boat. So the safest thing for you to do is going to be to hand your backpack down.
We had several stops on the way to Stehekin. At Prince Creek, several backpackers got off and planned to take the 17-mile lake trail to Stehekin. The trail mostly runs alongside the lake, and there's several camp areas for them. I'm amazed at how beautiful the water is in this lake. We had an unplanned stop. Whenever the boat would see people waving at them, they're required to stop and make sure they were okay. These were just backpackers that were happy to see us and were waving. We did a slow stop at Lucerne to see if anybody needed a pickup. Kind of chilly. See his breath.
Lake known as the Straits, and it's a 17-mile long straight stretch. We're going to experience rough lake conditions. This is where we often experience.
But we lucked out today. Not only was it sunny, we didn't have any wind. We're arriving in Stehekin.
Bye-bye, thank you. Have fun.
Since we were just taking a day trip, we only had an hour and a half, so we took the bus to Rainbow Falls. Oh yeah, we also stopped at the bakery.
So if you're going to Falls, we stop for a little bit on the way back, and some people probably just
If you look right in the V of the mountain, there's 3 mountain peaks, Boston, Booker, and Buckner. And Boston and Buckner have glaciers you can see in the summertime. Also, the last stop on the Pacific Crest Trail that comes all the way from Mexico to Canada, 2,600 miles. The hikers will come in the valley 12 miles up for the boat dock at High Ridge, catch this bus or another one of our buses down valley. And just about all the hikers mail themselves a hiker box, a resupply of food, clothing, maybe even shoes to make it the last 86 miles to the Canadian border. Last summer, due to fires, we had about 1,500 hiker boxes into the post office. 3 years before, we had 2,200 hiker boxes. There's about 8,000 permits to hike the trail annually, and we feel like on a good year, if there's no closures, roughly about 2,000 of them finish. And then there's a lot of what they call section hikers.
You can ride your bikes or take the shuttle bus up to Rainbow Falls. Wow. After hiking around for 20 minutes, it was time to get back on the bus. Stehekin Pastry Company.
Everything is amazing here. I don't think they have their full menu out yet, but if you see something you think you'll like, you will love it.
The driver was right. We enjoyed our pizza and our pastries. April's early season, and the boat ride days are limited, so our ranger let us take an extra day off to be able to go to Stehekin. The accommodations are pretty expensive and they require 2-night stay, but there are 4 service cabins where you can stay if you go online and reserve them. Golden West Visitor Center. There are also several National Forest campgrounds along the way too. That's our ride down there. The Lady of the Lake. The carts are handy to take your supplies from the boat to your cabin. All of us day trippers were ready to head back on the Lady of the Express, whether we were ready or not. One more unexpected stop when we saw the mountain goats. We made it back.
Yeah.
We're glad you came along with us on the trip of the Lady of the Lake to Stehekin.